Good evening, good evening, good evening. Back to another Top Flight show. It's stage 8. It is the Quayside 5K. Cam, we've got a bit of a banger over 5K lined up this evening, haven't we? What are you smirking at my attire for there? I can see you checking me out a little bit here. What's going on? You like this vintage sportswear attire?
Bro, it's like 25 to 7 and he's had about 5 coffees or something.
Hey, we get wired for these Top Flight shows, let's put it that way. So yeah, Cam, we've got a really good fixture lined up down the Quayside this evening. Stage 8 in the Top Flight series. Obviously, this time last week I was in the studio, you weren't here, you were probably off, I don't know, maybe in the gym or something like that, doing a little bit of a workout, we were saying?
I was at work, mate, this time.
Well, yeah. Oh, yes,
was
you were.
Yes.
Yeah,
I was at work, mate.
Yeah, you were. Sorry, forgive me.
Working hard, mate.
Working hard, yeah. So we had stage 7 at Battersea Park. That was, probably one of the, in terms of quality at the front end, one of the best races that we've seen in the Top Flight series. We discussed this on the preview show the other week. We won't focus too much on that, but obviously just to recap that, there was that 13.37 from Jack Rowe and 15.32 from Alex Bell. So some huge performances last week in Battersea Park.
Oh, yeah, it was incredible, wasn't it, to watch? I mean, Alex Bell, unbelievable. I mean, she always turns out, doesn't she, every year?
Yeah.
Every time she toes the line, she runs well. So we'll get onto that. But yeah, no, as well, Jack Rowe, fantastic performance as well. I mean, I don't know, he must be holding the record now for the amount of sub-14s in Battersea Park by now. I mean, I say sub-14s, I mean, sub-1340s. I think I've seen him go in the 1330s solo now. It must be at least 5 or 6 times in Battersea Park.
Yeah,
it's incredible, right?
He's a solid operator, Cam, let's put it that way. So obviously those results from last week did have an impact on the series standings. So without further ado, let's get these series standings up for you guys to have a little look at home. Obviously, at the top spot now, we've got Kadar Omar sat there on 68 points. He was second last week in Battersea Park. Omar Ahmed there in second place on 50 points. Now, we have got Kev Campbell racing tonight in the Quayside, and he is sat on 25 points currently towards the bottom end of that table, Cam, but I'd imagine his position's certainly going to alter tonight based on his current form going into this race and how we do expect him to perform. On the ladies' side of things, we've got Alex Bell sitting in third place, well, joint third place there with an array of athletes. Lisa Bailey and Hannah Morieri de Santos sat on the top spot. So those are our current standings on the men's and women's side of things. Now, if this is the first time you are joining us for one of our Top Flight broadcasts, then you may not understand the prize structure or what's associated with these races. So we'll bring up our prize money structure and we'll explain just briefly what the Top Flight series is about. 12 fixtures across the year. Your best 3 scoring races contribute towards points that end up in a league table over the year. And that is those series standings, what we've just looked at there. Now, there is time bonuses, race winner bonuses, leading time, course record, run-through record bonuses. You can see all that information on that slide there. But that's exactly what you need to know about the Top Flight Series races. So if you are, an athlete that is, trying to bridge that gap between good domestic and elite, and you want to get involved in these races where there is, where there's money up for grabs, then please do reach out to the Top Flight team. They will be more than keen to discuss getting you entered in these. Now, Cam, to today's fixture, mate, on the Quayside 5K. Let's take a look at the leading entries. So we're going to go straight over. Let's fly over to the men's leading entries, actually, Cam. Let's start with that one, because I've mentioned one of them whose good positions potentially going to alter tonight. Kevin Campbell, winner of the Quayside 10K earlier on in the year. He's our best operator on paper, Cam, 13.50 for him. Joe Firth on the ladies. I'm thinking about the next slides here. Joe Firth, our second quickest there, 14.18. Chris Coulson in there as well, 14.21. So those are our men's leading entries. Let's flick over to our ladies' leading entries as well, Cam, because we'll box off them, because again, there's some real sort of international quality in this one. We've got Emily Hagar-Kearney there, 15.14, Cam. That is a cracking time over 5K. Fiona Everard in there as well, Steph Penny-Cook. We've got Jemima Elgood in there and Megan Stenhouse. And Megan Stenhouse, again, another athlete who has not only participated in the Top Flight Series, she actually won the Top Flight Series last year. So Stenhouse will certainly be looking to make an impact on this field. So those are our leading entries on the men's and women's side of things. Cam, should we get our quote from our race director, Mr. Chris Part, who actually,
best
we should say,
best part of the series, really.
Best part of the series.
We look forward to this one.
But we should say we do wish him well, because he's been unwell, hasn't he, Cam?
He
hasn't been very well these past few days. So this is what Chris has got to say about the Quayside 5K. And I tell you what, you can tell that he actually says this because the OG of Top Flight is such a Chris Part saying, isn't it?
It is indeed. This is his baby, this race, to be honest. I still remember when he set it up years ago, speaking down, we were having a coffee after training with the Lindsay Dunn's group, talking about the Quayside 5K and how he was setting up a new race. And look what's happened today. You know, it's kind of led on to what we've got today with Top Flight Series.
Definitely.
It's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was the birth of things. So we can see the athletes, they are starting to mill around that start line. Cam, quickly before we go over to the race, our course record, something to bear in mind. But looking at the conditions tonight, and again, we'll touch upon this throughout the broadcast, I don't think they're going to be under any threat tonight. 13:43 by Ben Connor in 2025, 15:42 by Lily Partridge from 2024. So those are our course records. Now we can see the athletes, they do seem to be heading towards the start line. The race officials are getting them in line there, getting them ready to go. Cam, I think one thing I've just mentioned there that we need to talk about, it's the weather tonight. I don't think it is the night for quick times. If I was an athlete turning up to this race, as soon as I step foot outside at the Quayside, I'd be thinking, right, well, times are off the cards tonight because that wind, it's blowing an absolute gale. It's all about just taking points and taking the win in this one this evening, isn't it?
Oh, for sure. You know, the wind, I mean, you can just see the flags blowing there. And I knew earlier in the day it was going to be blustering, and I thought maybe it could settle as the night continues, but it doesn't seem to have been the case. They are going to be exposed. Probably, I would have thought on the way back. On the way out, it's not too bad. They should be on a closed road with pretty sheltered sides both ways. But on the way back, they, like I say, they will be exposed. Who knows? Maybe they'll get lucky and it'll be behind them as they come on the way back. But yeah, it's pretty windy up here in the northeast today. So times are relevant, but sometimes I think that's a positive. I quite enjoy if it's windy, maybe it will turn it into a tactical race and we'll have an actual race in our hands rather than a stretching it out from the start type of race.
Yeah, well, you say that, Cam. So, you know, talk me through, you know, the lead athletes in both these races here. How are things going to play out now, given the fact that the conditions that they're going to be dealing with? You know, say if you're going to be in that lead pack in the men's or women's side of things, you know, how is that going to alter the race? For someone who's watching this that might not have done a lot of racing over 5K or might not have dealt with these conditions, how is that going to affect things this evening?
I think the women's shouldn't be affected too much. Depends on who's around and you know who's fit, who's not. Hopefully, if the women have a few people there, it will be stretched out where they are in the pack because, like I say, we run those people together. We have the women's and it's a mixed gender race. In terms of the men's, I mean, it's kind of, if anything, what it does is it kind of brings me back to the Newcastle 10K a few years ago when we had Callum Johnson, Cam Allen. There was a Ugandan in there as well.
Yeah, I can't quite remember his name now.
And yeah, I know there's a great runner, but anyway, they were all Kipsang. There we go.
That's it.
Actually, how many millions of views did we have on that clip on Instagram?
Oh, it went into the millions.
It was like busted the way he was running, wasn't it? But anyway, like we've seen a group of those three, and it came down to sort of the latter stages of the race, where because when you get into the second half of a race, if there's still lots of people around and you're kind of burning energy at the front, people start questioning, you know, do I want to be still here towards the end, burning all my energy now, taking the wind, expending too much? And then that's when I think it starts to get a bit more tactical. I think at the start, we'll still see people go out and try and maybe someone like a Kev Campbell may hit the front and try and stretch it out. But if he doesn't pull away in the early stages, I would expect towards the latter stages of the race, people will be, jostling around a little bit. You know, some people won't want to take the lead, and rightly so, to be honest with you. I wouldn't personally want to be taking the lead in conditions like this. But with that said, there is a big gap in times from the front from someone like Kev Campbell. The next fastest time after that is Joe Fudd. Yeah. It's 14:18. So you're talking almost what? Almost 30 seconds, almost half a minute quicker at personal best when he comes down to the second person. So maybe we'll see him hit it from the start. I don't know. It depends how fit he is as well, doesn't it, I guess?
Yeah, it is always a hard one to tell with the athletes coming into these races. Cam, I tell you what, one athlete I did spot on the start line there. I'm sure it was James Bonus. Can you remember him? 800-meter runner, 146 guy from years back.
James Bonus, is that he in this race?
I'm sure I seen James Bonus on the start line there. So Cam, we'll see because we'll get our live splits through as this race pans out. But
if it is him, then yeah, great runner. Well, great to see him back. I know that. You know, I still remember having a conversation with him back in 2016 at the Edinburgh Cross Country International, and he was running the 1K along with me. And I remember having a conversation and saying, you know, what's it like to run a 1K on the grass then? And he was like, mate, do not run it like a 1,000 meter race. Like it's going to be, it'll feel more like a 2K, 3K race. And he was right. Great tips from him there. Very experienced runner. So yeah, if it is him, then great to see him back. We'll see though soon as it pans out. But I tell you one thing, I can't see Kev Campbell at the front yet.
Exactly that, Cam. That is exactly what I'm thinking. I can't see Kev Campbell in there.
Is that not him in the middle of the pack? No.
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I think that Kev Campbell, just imagining by the way that Kev Campbell runs as well from what we've seen in the past. It doesn't look like he's there on the start line unless he's nestled into the pack. And obviously, as our live splits come through, Cam, we'll be able to give the viewers at home a better idea of where people are sat within that race. But yeah, to me in this early stages, Cam, it doesn't look like Kev Campbell's there.
It doesn't indeed, but I tell you what it is though, it's the Morpeth vest of Chris Coulson who's leading it out and going hard from the gun. He's having a good season. You know, recently he came second in the 3,000 metres at the Leeds BMC in June. 8:27.03k, and he's run 14:32 at 5k at the Bucks Champs this year. I mean, I would say the Bucks Champs are generally fairly tactical at the start, so that wouldn't have been stretched from the start, I wouldn't have thought. But it does look to me like it is him at the front at the minute pushing it along. But like I say, we were just talking about the tactics with the wind and stuff. It's not a surprise to see a big bunch of guys there at the front. With that said, they are all of similar abilities. You know, we've got 14:18 for Joe Firth, Chris Coulson, 14:21, Mark Brown out there from Salford Harriers. It looks to me like that might be Mark Brown hitting the front at the moment, trying to stretch it on a little bit more. 14:28, David Green, North Shields, Poly, 14:34. James Bowness from Trafford AC, 14:36. So we've got quite a few athletes there under 14:40. And all within a whisker of each other, so it's not surprising. I think this is going to turn into a bit of a race towards the end of the 5K today. Yeah,
Cameron, I was just looking for Joe Firth as well, Cameron. I don't think I can spot him in that leading pack at the moment. So, yeah, some of the big hitters that we're lining up in this one aren't on the start line this evening. And Cam, I wonder whether the conditions have played a part in that. Maybe the athletes have, you know. Almost you've got to pick your races throughout the season, which ones you're going to dive into, which ones you're really going to commit to and put a big effort in and taper the week for. And maybe if they've looked at these a few days out and seen that the conditions aren't going to be great, knowing that the course is good, athletes will target this course for a quick 5K or a quick 10K. If the conditions aren't with them, then maybe they've looked at it slightly differently and thought, you know what, not today, let's save it for another day, because there's still plenty of races in the Top Flight series, of course, to come, Cam, because we've still got another 4 fixtures after this evening. And they'll obviously be returning to a Top Flight race.
No, for sure. I mean, this is definitely a highlight of the calendar usually every year. We usually get guys from all over the country attending here. And even more so after what we've seen from Ben Connor last year in the 13:30, smashing that run-through record, which I'm sure he'll be happy to come back and try and break again at some point throughout the rest of the year, or maybe late sort of early next year. Hopefully we'll see him back there. But it does look like Mark Brown is out there. This is the closed part of the course I was talking about. You can just see left and right is sheltered. The only wind you'd expect to be seen from any of the athletes at the minute is front or behind. And I tell you what, the trees don't seem to be blowing at all right now, so they are well sheltered. And it's no surprise that Chris Coulson's happy to hit the front here and keep pushing the pace on. I can't imagine he's expending too much energy right now. But just looking down onto the females here, we can just see, I just seen the Bertley vest of Lydia Turner there, Bertley AC, coached by Tommy Miltmore, down at Chester Street. Recently won Bladen as well, so she's in great shape. She's run PBs over 5K and also 10K as well in 2025. So will we see another PB tonight? That's the question. But she's well sheltered in there at the front, and I think that is that looking to be Emily Kernley alongside her. I think it is.
That's Hagar Kearney right next to her there. So Lydia just tracking Hagar Kearney. And Cam, this is the thing when we say about the benefit that the ladies potentially have in this one, is the fact that we can see them just nestled into that pack there, and they're able to shelter away from the wind and just keep a little bit more control, reserve a little bit more energy at this early stage in the race there. So that's great that we can see those athletes just tucked in that pack, not taking any unnecessary wind. Whereas on the men's side of things, Cam, it's a little bit different. And I maybe didn't expect it to play out like this, quite this early on in the race. We're coming up to the 2 kilometre mark now. And it's Chris Coulson that's on the front. And I'm not going to say he's struck for home, Cam, because he's still got 3 kilometres of running left. But what he's decided to do is get on the front and make this one a little bit more honest from the front there, hasn't he? We can see that we've got Brown in there as well. We've got Ben Hodgson up there and David Green in that pack. So there's a solid pack of athletes there. And actually, there is still quite a chunk of athletes just lined up behind Coulson there. But what Coulson's trying to do now, Cam, I think, is just run the stinger out of the rest of the athletes. He's probably not fully committed to this, but this is definitely a concerted effort to move to the front to try and just work it on a little bit, just grind them down a touch there. And he's got a couple of yards on them. Now, it's not a significant gap, and I don't think it's going to be something that he's going to develop straight away, as in the next 500 metres. But it could be the start of the move for Chris Coulson here.
Yeah, I'm just thinking back to when we seen him at the Newcastle 10K, and he came second in that race. And it was a PB, but I do remember him trying to pull back Kev Campbell in the closing stages, and Kev just put too much of a gap in there early doors. And I'm not too sure if that maybe is a bit of nostalgia here coming up. The same kind of course here as well. We're running up the same roads there, and maybe he's thought, you know what, I'm in great shape right now. I've came third in Bladen and recent in the last few weeks behind Callum Johnson. If I'm going to run a personal best, this is the course to do it. And yes, although the conditions aren't great, he's a strong runner. And I think people like him really benefit from a race being strung out early doors. So you can just see how windy it is from the side there. It looks like the cones went down, but that's a side wind. So it doesn't look like it's affecting them too much right now. But on the latter stages, as we turn around, we'll soon find out whether or not that's sustainable or not. I'm not too sure. If you know, in my personal opinion, I think that we'll start to see the race develop and moves may be made further in the race rather than these early stages.
Yeah, Cam, you mentioned that wind there being a side wind. It's quite blustery though, isn't it? It's swirling around quite a lot. So, I mean, I can see what Coulson's trying to do here. And he is starting to break them down a little bit. So it's whether there's going to be athletes in the pack behind him that are going to wake up and try and bridge that gap. Because this is the danger that you get in this kind of position in a race. You get an athlete that gets on the front. They start to build momentum. They start to develop a little gap. And if the rest of the field don't commit, or no one in that pack commits and follows, then they can get a breakaway. And then that then gives that athlete confidence, and they start building and building and building. And this at the moment looks to be what Coulson's doing, because there's a small charge from the pack behind, Cam, but they're not having a big impact on that lead yet. And Coulson now, depending on how that wind's affecting him, he's looking relaxed, Cam. He's looking comfortable. He's got a nice cadence, nice rhythm about him. They're operating probably around about, I think it's going to be around that 1440 to 1450 mark, just based off that 2.5 kilometre split. They might come home a bit quicker. I'm not 100% sure. But at the moment, Cam, Coulson looks chilled on the front.
I think this is going to be the decisive move. You know, we're at 3K already. The race is already starting to creep up. Less than 2K to go. But I tell you what, it looks like Joseph Neven from Liverpool Harriers is starting to close him in. 5K could be in serious. His 5K could be in serious.
Come on, Cameron. Cameron, put your teeth back in, please.
Could be in serious danger right now, is what I'm trying to say. 29.54 for 10K Trafford back in March. He's run a recent PB of a 3.54 for 1,500 recently too. So I think if he's going to let him go, this is a bad move from Joseph Niven. He really wants to be on the shoulder of Coulson in the closing stages with speed like that in his back pocket.
Yeah, Niven's doing the right thing, Cam. He's trying to go with Coulson, and he's keeping him in his sights as well. So it's important that he doesn't let this gap grow. But you can see what they've done to the rest of the field. So you'd imagine there's going to be a big charge from Coulson and Niven here as they head into this last mile. We can see on the ladies' side of things there, we've got Lydia Turner, the Berkeley vest, the local colours there. And I think I can spot Emily Hagar-Kearney just in front of her there, maybe about 5 metres. We can see that flash of blonde hair that belongs to Hagar-Kearney there, just about 5 or 10 metres in front of Turner at this point. So on the ladies' side of things, Cam, it is Hagar-Kearney in the front. Lydia Turner through that 1.5 kilometre mark, operating around 3:05 per kilometre pace. So we were predicted around 15:25. Cam, I don't think that split is going to be accurate, though. We've got Jemima Elgood up there as well, Steph Pennycook in 4th place, Sarah Potter in 5th, and Charlotte Van Zelst in 6th place. So it's all unfolding nicely on the ladies' side of things there. And we can see that it is Coulson on the front now. And Cam, what is the gap looking like to Niven? Cam, the gap, is it closing? Is it maintaining? Who would you fancy? And actually, Cam, not who would you fancy? Whose position would you rather be in now as an athlete? Would you rather be Coulson on the front, or would you rather be Niven with Coulson just in your sights?
I think, in my opinion, I think that in these conditions, I'd rather be in Coulson's position. But I think it all comes down to how much Coulson's got in the tank when he's coming into the final 800, 1,000 meters. For me, that gap's closing ever so slightly now. And I tell you what, Joseph Niven doesn't actually look like he's even trying too hard right now. I say the gap's closing. Is it maintaining? I don't really know. Actually, now that I look at it, maybe it is. But he's in striking distance, and that could be dangerous. Like I say, 354 over 1,500 recently, a new personal best. He's just ran a personal best over 10K. His 5K PB is in danger. But I tell you what, as we've just been talking there, the gap is starting to open up. It looks like Niven's starting to fade a little bit. Coulson's strong, and he's managing to show that in these closing stages.
Yeah, so we're through the 4 kilometre mark now, Cam, and I tell you what, there was a little telltale sign from Niven for me. He had that little glance down at his quads, little glance down at the feet and the floor below, and I always think as an athlete, when you do that, you're not 100% focused, and that's because the fatigue is starting to creep in. And I'm not saying he's not focused and his mind's wandering. I'm just saying you're conscious of your body. It's almost like a subconscious tick. You look down when you're tired. You do it often when you're racing, Cam. You look around quite a lot, I think, as an athlete. I've always said this. I say if you look forward, Cam, you'll go a little bit quicker. But, you know, bad habits, will get rid of them in time. But at the moment, it's all about Coulson. He's on the front. He's looking relaxed. And Cam, I tell you what, it's been a real positive move from Coulson, this. Early on in the race, he took to the front and really started to push it. And he's ground this field down now. And this is why he's in pole position with about 700 metres to go. On the ladies' side of things, we can see Hagar Kearney there. Cam, she looks good, actually. She looks relaxed. There's a nice sort of relax to the shoulders. There's a bit of a bounce in the step as well, Cam. And she's looking relaxed as she's going to be coming in around about that 4 kilometre mark as well. So kilometre to go for Hagar Kearney. A little glance down at the watch. So that, again, shows that she's probably comfortable. Just acknowledging time-wise where she's at in the race and what she's got left to do. And we can see she has built a gap. She's built a bit of a lead over Lydia Turner now.
No, absolutely. I think it looks like Turner may have been gone now. I think at this stage in the race, it's going to be difficult to claw back unless something drastic happens to Kearney in the final closing stages. But back to the men's race as well, just on the left-hand side of the screen. Coulson's away and gone. He's coming into the closing stages now. Not long to go. We're only talking around about 400 metres by the looks of things from what the watch is saying on the screen. It's not 100% accurate. The pace is quick, and he's clearly picked the pace up, so it may just be that Niven's not faded and Coulson's picked it up. Not surprising. The shape he's in at the minute, he's in the shape of his life, is Coulson. Is this going to be a personal best as he comes into the closing stages?
Well, Cam, our predicted time that's coming up onto the screen is saying around about the low 14-minute mark, Cam. But I always take that with a pinch of salt because I don't quite trust the GPS with these races. But yeah, like you said, Cam, we've got about 200-300 metres to go now, and it's all Coulson. Cam, I think he's got this one sewn up now. There's no way that Niven is coming back to him. So Coulson took this one on with about in 2 kilometres into this race. He started to build momentum on the front. And you know what, Cam? Chris Coulson has kept his cool throughout this one, mate. There's your headline for you. Coulson is going to take stage 8 in this Top Flight Series 5K. And Cam, more importantly, it's going to be points on the board for Coulson. The Morpeth Harrier, the local vest, is going to shine through in that finish area, and he'll be getting a lot of support on that crowd now. We can see the run-through banner. Coulson is going to take the Quayside 5K. A big win for Coulson on the CV, and you can see he's elated with that performance. Niven coming in second place, a tired Niven, but Cam, hats off to Niven because he had a crack at Coulson at one point.
Oh, what a run from Niven. I tell you what, he has destroyed his personal best. 15 minutes he was outside of for 5K going into this race. And we knew he was on for a PB. I mentioned it before, 29.54, sub 30-minute 10K in the bag just recently in March. He will have moved on since then. That 1,500 that he's had in his legs as well will have moved him on. What a fantastic run from Niven, and Coulson as well, on his own all the way. Was that a personal best there? I think it was officially on time. I hope it was. We are waiting for the official results, but I tell you what, he definitely deserved it after a run like that on his own.
Yeah, Cam, I can tell you now, Chris Coulson, 14.17 across the line there. So personal best for him coming into this one, 14.21 prior to that. And it was Joseph Niven in second place, 14.24, so big run from him. Mark Brown in third place, 14.45. As we see Emily Hagar Kearney now. Cam,
she's had a real strong run out there. Maybe time-wise, it might not be where she's looking at, but it's going to be a good run. And tell you what, Cam, it's going to be mightily close to the course record.
It is indeed, but I tell you what, she's the current Irish national 10K champion. She won in Armagh back in 2026, back in February for 3K, and it looks like it's going to be a win over 5K for the Top Flight Series for Emily Haggard-Kearney of Ireland. Congratulations, what a fantastic run.
Cameron, I think that is very, very close to Lily Partridge's course record. I'm trying to rifle through my notes as quick as I can to find out what that course record is. I'm sure
42,
it was...
I think it was 42.
15:42, because Ben Connors was 13:43.
Oh, okay.
So it looks to be, at this moment in time, we'll wait till the official results do filter through for Emily Haggard-Kearney. We've got 15:40 flashing up on the screen at us now, Cam, so I think it is a course record. And Lydia Turner in second place, 15:49 there. That's a real strong run from Lydia Turner there. But you're back to Emily Haggard-Kearney, 15:40 course record, taking the win, maximum points in the Top Flight Series. Cam, that's a really good run in these conditions.
Unbelievable run indeed. And I tell you what, it really takes guts to be able to go out and think, I'm going to try and just run as hard as I can from the front in a field like this with the caliber of that. Just seen Steph Pennycook coming across the line as well. And I tell you what, who knows, if there'd been great conditions, could she have even broken the run-through record? That will be definitely up for question. But I tell you what, there'll definitely be more opportunities as we go through the season to potentially, look at breaking that too. So she's in a great place. Winning Armagh 3K back in February for me was a definite telltale sign that we have a real quality operator on our hands here tonight. And, it really showed. It really did.
Yeah, so recapping them results on the ladies' side there, it was Emily Haggard-Kearney that has took the win in 15 minutes and 40 seconds on a blustery evening. And Cam, again, once, what this does, what this result does and what this race has shown tonight, I think it paints the picture perfectly of how quick of a course this Quayside 5K and 10K is. The conditions are certainly not with these athletes tonight. We've banged on about this from the start of this broadcast, because I, looking at this from the outside, did not expect these times to be as quick as they are in those conditions. So if there's any athletes here that are watching this or having to think about having a top flight race, and you're unsure of what unsure what you've got planned over the next few months, if you ever get the opportunity to race down the Quayside, I couldn't recommend it enough, Cam, because it's a great place for a race, a great venue, and I think we can see from these results that it just demonstrates that perfectly. Second place, Lydia Turner, 15:49. Third place, we've got Megan Stenhouse there, 16:22 for her. Jemima Elgood in fourth place, 16:33, and Steph Pennycook in fifth with 16:37 there. So some solid runs across the board there. Stenhouse again will be picking up points, Cam, which will certainly be impacting her position in the Top Flight Series overall in the standings. Emily Haggard-Kearney, she's going to become now into that mix where there's a lot of athletes on the ladies' side of things sat on one victory. So still a lot to play for on the ladies' side of things. Whereas the men's, again, Chris Coulson now comes into play at 25 points. He gets himself probably in a top 10 position now. Going forward, I'm sure he'll be targeting more.
No, for sure, and most definitely. Megan Stenhouse as well, just outside of her personal best. Recently, she was the Northern 5K champion as well at Silksworth. So, and also the Northeastern Counties 5,000 metre champion. She's having a hell of a year. Finished third in the Midland Counties Cross Country Championships as well. So she's under Nathan Schroeb in Durham. Nathan doing a great job with her.
Congratulations.
But yeah, it's what a run indeed. But you're absolutely bang on about the course. The course is flat as a pancake, isn't it? It's sheltered on the way out. And I think we were very, very lucky to have that, because in previous years, last year was the first time that Chris Parr had adopted this style of course with the closed road. And I think he was able to do that because he's incorporated a 10K in there as well. But, I think we were lucky in the sense that, going out, it was pretty well sheltered for the guys like Chris Coulson. So he was able to stretch out himself without expending too much energy. On the way back, you probably did see a bit of a bluster here and there, and it was definitely gusting pretty hard. But, it didn't affect him enough so much that he decided he was going to pull back. So fantastic run from him. The course was on electric and on fire. And I think next year, hopefully, we'll see Alex Bell back here as well. She couldn't attend tonight. She's ill. So I hope, you know, I'm sure this comes from the rest of the team as well. Everyone at Top Flight, we all wish her well and hope she comes back stronger and gets over her illness. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next year and seeing who comes out here.
Yeah, Cam, I think you summed things up nicely there regarding the course. It's definitely, definitely something that, I would encourage any athletes, if they were looking for quick races, to come to the Top Flight events in general, because, the Top Flight movement that we're now calling it, it's the Top Flight movement. The Top Flight movement itself is it's delivering. The results are there. That we can see that. We look at what happened in Battersea Park last week, and again, we just put context around these things. You're looking at athletes at the front end of this race that have clocked PBs on a quick course in not ideal conditions. So, highlights for me: Chris Coulson keeping his cool, making his mark on that race around the 2 kilometre mark, and dominating it, systematically breaking the field down. Thought that was a really mature, controlled performance from Chris Coulson there. And on the ladies' side of things, Emily Haygarth-Kearney, you know what, Cam? She just toughed that one out. That's what she done there. She got on the pace. She pulled on the athletes around her, and she just gritted that one out, and she's rewarded with a course record. So some fantastic results from the Quayside 5K, and that will conclude things at the Quayside 5K. Stage 8 is done and dusted. The leaderboard will now start to change. And it all comes back to stage 9, the Altrincham 10K. So we've got the Altrincham 10K. That is going to be the next event in September. Please do jump on the RunThrough socials, the Top Flight socials, RunThrough website, whatever you want. Get on there, have a look. There'll be all the entry details for our next fixture, stage 9 in the Top Flight series, the Altrincham 10K. If you've enjoyed this broadcast and you enjoy any of the content that comes out of the Top Flight series or the RunThrough series and RunThrough socials, please do jump on the Instagram pages, like I've mentioned. Give these videos a like, give them a share. It's all good stuff. It's all positive stuff. And we can see Mr. Cameron Boyack having a little smirk in the background there as I put the hard sell on everyone. But from me, Rich Morrell and Cameron Boyack, it's bye for now.